Hey, hey, you all. This is Latanya Washington of Night School, the International List Tour and the Customer Culture. And tonight, I have the chance to speak with McKenna Garganu. We're going to be talking about the meanings of collaboration and cooperation because they have been buzzwords for years now. And we want to talk about that because we want to make sure that you truly understand the true meanings of collaboration and cooperation. All right, be back 30 seconds. Hey, hey, you all. Welcome to Night School. I am here with my good friend, McKenna Garganu, and of Celebrity Events by McKenna. I mean,
Yes.
she's done so many awesome events for so many celebrities. And, we've been working together for years. And I wanted her to come on because I truly believe she would be the right person to talk about this subject. As we said, collaboration and cooperation have been buzzwords, and so many
Yes.
people are using it. And we just wanted to make sure that people truly understand what it meant. So the next time you're dealing with your team, your organization, your department, you truly understand where people are placed and what you are doing with them. And so, welcome to Night School, McKenna.
Welcome, everyone.
How are you doing?
I feel fabulous.
Great, because we've been doing stuff for a long time. We have been busy bees. And
Yes.
hey, Dr. Harris and I, we have been busy bees and doing quite a bit of business work and productive things. And so I wanted us to talk about this, and we don't have a whole lot of time because we try to keep this down to about 30 minutes. But let's talk about the definitions of cooperation and collaboration. So, in your own words, McKenna, what do you consider collaboration to be?
In my own words, collaboration is when a group of people decide to come together to work on something as a common goal. So, for instance, when I have an event, I choose people to be on my team, and then we agree to bring different skill sets to the event. So I may have someone say, okay, McKenna, I could come in and help you with registrations. Another person say, I could help you man the stage. And then another person could say, okay, I could host people and walk them into the room and seat them. And so it's an agreement with people coming together, and when they're making one project, happen among each other.
Yeah. And so and that's why I wanted to talk to you in regards to it because and as I was sharing with you a little bit earlier, and so when I define collaboration as well, McKenna, for me, I always tell people, just as we're dealing with the list tour that's coming up till 2020 for leaders, I said I want everyone to take ownership of this.
Yes.
Because a lot of times it's like, hey, okay, it's Latanya's thing or whatever. But I always try to say it's not Latanya's thing. It is a group thing, and for us to take ownership. Because for me, McKenna, I want you to shed a little bit more light in regards to this. Because when people take ownership, I think a lot of times you feel more invested and you have more say so into the project or into whatever you have going on. And so let's talk about that a little bit more, and then we'll deal a little bit more with cooperation. Shed more light on that, McKenna.
So you basically want me to share about what other details I see about how people come together and make things happen. Yeah. Well, one of the things I learned from doing collaborations with other people is that you really got to make sure people got skin in the game, that they come in and really want to help and be there. In the past, I have been gullible in the sense where I just thought that, okay, I've got my friends together. I got, my people come in and this is what we're going to do. And they're all excited. It's like, oh, let's do this. And then as we get closer and closer to the day event, I see some people dropping off. I'm calling them and you can't reach them.
Cooperation. I ain't got no skin.
Listen to action. And I used to take it so personally because I'm like, they were so excited and they said they were going to do this and that, and all of a sudden they dropped the ball on me, and so I had this, go back and to the table and realize that everybody don't understand what that means when they say they make a commitment to do something. And I can understand why people have people sign contracts too, whether you're volunteering or you are hired to do something, because not everybody will appreciate the fact they're involved with something important. What's important to you may not be important to them, and so you have to kind of help them see the vision. Just like you said, like you want with us be involved with the list tour, you telling us to own it. Like, this is not just your baby, it's our baby. And we're here making it, helping it to be born in a sense. And you've been rebirthing this thing over and over again, Latanya. And so each time it has a different theme, a different type of people who are attracted to it. But whoever comes on board, they have to have understanding that this is a win-win for everyone.
Right. And that is so true. I'm glad you said that. And I know, my sister, Dr. Sawyer, said, you have to have skin in the game. Having skin in the game is very important. And I know Dr. Harris also said it's an agreement that we're going to get this job done. And everything it's like an investment. I'm investing in this for a common goal, to make sure this goes through, to make sure this happens. And it creates people to realize it does require commitment. But the same thing is required too for cooperation. So now let's talk about cooperation, because we definitely want to deal with that, because in all essence, McKenna, a lot of people really are in a cooperation, not necessarily a collaboration. So give me your definition of cooperation before I jump in.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to try my best with this one. Well, cooperation, what it means to me is that when everyone has different personalities and different ways of doing things. And so it's kind of like you have to find a way to work together where even when things don't go as well as you want to, you find a way to get through it and maneuver through the conflict. And so sometimes some people got to step back and listen. Sometimes some people have to lead the people in and say, okay, this is what we need to do. And you just have to kind of work it out, because I know a couple of projects that you and I are working on right now we've been having some little challenges, and some people say, I'm here, I'm gonna help. And some people say, I've done my work, I'm done,
Right.
And so you have to find a way to encourage them and motivate them to come back in. And then sometimes you just have to say, this is not working,
Right.
We're not, I guess you say, cooperating with each other. And so we have to let that person go and get somebody else in who's willing to make it work. And so that's kind of like the best analogy I could, think of in my head that describes cooperation.
Yeah. And I think, Yvette mentioned as well, she says, as business owners who decide to collaborate, how do you, or what do you use to determine each member of the group's personality style so that the project runs as smooth as possible?
Yes.
You know what? I'm glad she brought that up, because it's personality styles. And I do believe it was Dr. Lisa Liggins. I know at the last list tour, she dealt with the personality styles, because personalities, to me, they have to fit. I'm I have a personality. And so it would be probably pretty difficult for me to deal with another A personality. It just really depends on maybe what department or what area I'm working in. And so personalities make a big difference in order for anything to run smoothly. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because it is so necessary, because all personalities cannot work together, or they're not cohesive. And then now we're bumping heads, and then we're finding things are not getting done. Shed a little bit more light on that. Thank you so much for sharing that, because that is so true.
Yeah, personalities is that's some part of the most challenging thing I've learned, over the years of being in business, because I'm the type of person that once somebody tell me something, I'm running, I'm moving, shaking, and then I find a way, I guess you could say, to deal with the pressure. And I realized some people are not made like that.
Right.
Some people bring all kind of issues to the table, where it be insecurity, or it could be like, feeling not important, or some people feel like they're competitive, that they got to chase people down, and, and you're trying to find out that, that role, I guess that meeting of the roles, in a sense, between all the different personalities and how they could work together, because you do need someone that is competitive a little bit and have a competitive edge, but then also too, you want them to have a heart,
Right.
where it's not, trying to run over everybody. Then you want somebody who's kind hearted too, but you don't want to be the type where they are afraid to jump when we got to jump.
Right.
So personalities play a big role in people come together, work on a project, and you really got to find out what people's weaknesses are, because some people can destroy the project, and it could be
Right.
On purpose or involuntarily, just because they don't know no better, and in a sense, they don't know how to do it, the best way to do
Right.
it. And that's why leadership is so important, because someone has to be in charge, that's married to the vision, and that's going to keep it on the course no matter what anybody else do. So some people are going to jump off the ship. Okay, they are. So you, the leader, have to say, okay, this ain't working. How are we gonna change this? And I know some people don't want to change nothing. They just like, well, I don't know what to do. You have to find a way to make this work. And I see that with my events. It's like it never is perfectly designed the way I have in my head and on paper. So when things happen, I have to figure out a way to maneuver through it. And I want to tell a little funny story that happened to me this last year. When I was doing a comedy show last year, one of our comedians got stuck in another state. He's supposed to be flying into the show, and he calls me at 4 a.m. and said, "I'm stuck." I said, "What do you mean you stuck?" He said, "I don't think I'll make it, because the plane I was supposed to get on, they said they didn't have enough seats, so I had to wait for the next." He was overbooked. He had to wait for the next plane. I said, "What did that mean?" He said, "I probably won't get there till after 12. I said, "That means, but the show starts at 11. And that means somebody got to figure out how to get him at the airport." And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, what we gonna do? What we gonna do? And then he called me back again and said, "Oh my God, I don't think I'm gonna make that flight. So I don't even think I'm gonna be able to make it at all." And so I was kind of a little nervous, of course, about what to do. So I started thinking, my wheels start turning. And the first thing I thought about was like, okay, who do I know that would be willing to drive from LA at last minute?
Right.
And so I thought about one comedian and contact them. Then I thought about comedians that we knew locally. And so I contacted the ones I knew, and just happened my husband inboxed somebody on Instagram, and he responded. He happened to be up. And he said he hadn't been on Instagram for 2 months. And he just happened to be on Instagram when my husband inboxed and said, "Are you available to do a show for us today? Because we're having a little difficulty getting our original headliner in." And it worked out. People didn't even know that the comedian that was supposed to be there wasn't there, because the show was so funny and good. It just ran smoothly. But we had to make it happen,
Right. It is, and that is so true. And I'm glad you talked about that. And I think that is it. What is that? Rhea, I believe that is, said, yeah, you need cooperation to collaborate. And that is you hit that on the head right there. You have to cooperate to collaborate. That's real.
That's my girl Rhea. Girl, she knows, because she does a lot of community work. She knows
it's a lot. It's a lot going on. That's real. And so and you got to know each person's strengths, and important to also know each other person's strengths and weaknesses. Dr. Sawyer, my sister. And so it is so necessary. But I'm glad you touched in on leadership, because in order to even be able to cooperate and collaborate, you still have to have that individual that is there saying, okay, this is what we need to have done, who can actually go in these positions. And then that trust factor has to go into place. But you really, as a leader, and this is why we talked about so many times, leadership matters. And when there is a crisis, leadership will show, it'll show whether this person is a leader or not, because it is so necessary, because it can be the win of a project or organization, or it can be the downfall of it. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit more. And because when we talk about collaboration and cooperation, you have to be able to follow the lead. But you still,
Wow.
to me, you still have to be
Mhm.
strong in what you're bringing to the table. I don't
Mhm.
think any big corporation or any management team is able to sit there and micromanage. And let's talk about this, because
I don't
it's
like
hard to
micromanaging at
micromanage
all.
when you have a
Mhm.
project going on. And I
Mhm.
wanted to talk about this today because it is so necessary to understand the defining the two. Know who, if you're having a project, you guys, I know everybody's here on this call, know the difference. Because, and then as we talked about, like I said, understanding the personalities of the people you're dealing with, because sometimes people just are not going to work out. And you have to be
Mhm.
okay, even as a leader, to say this is not working. Otherwise, your project is going, it's going downhill. And so, share a little bit more about that, because we talked about leaders being
Mhm.
able to lead and being able to say, okay, let's cooperate. Let me find the people who are just there to cooperate, and understanding them, and then the collaboration. Let's talk a little bit more about that, McKenna. Thanks so
Yeah.
much. Yes.
Yes, you're welcome. The reason why I brought up leadership is
Okay.
because whether you like it or not, some people don't like to be in charge, and some people don't like to be told what to do. But someone has to be like basically holding the baby, and keeping the vision alive and keeping
Yeah.
people motivated to be a part of it. And so it's just one of those things that's necessary. And a leader had to have certain characteristics to be able to lead. People have to be able to trust you.
Right.
And when you say guide people, into things, like I have different clients I do consulting with, and they have to trust my wisdom, my experience of what I bring to the table. You can't have people on your team that don't believe in you, because some of
Right.
them would they will sabotage the project. But so you definitely, and you don't want somebody who try to lead ahead of you either.
Right.
They have to respect, even though there may be other leaders in the room, they have to respect that the fact you were in charge of this, and that they could guide you, but they can't take over.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the best thing I think to do is, first of all, set up some guidelines of
Hmm.
respect, how
Hmm.
we deal with conflict, who's going to be doing what are the deadlines for doing things, when are we going to regroup and meet up and talk about stuff. If there's something happening that someone don't like, then we agree that we'll discuss it, and don't take nothing personally. Just be able to know, just believe in your heart they're saying it for the good of the project. you
Right. Right.
know and so I think that's the best things I could think of right now. It's just it's a communication that's so important.
Hmm.
And that you have to be able to think off your feet.
Yeah.
If something is happening at that moment. It's been times at my own event where something happened that I had no thought of ever happening, and you're like, what am I going to do? And you have to brainstorm right there at that moment and figure it out and clean it up as if no one else know that happens except
Yeah.
you and your
Yeah.
team members. you know
Yeah.
um, Another thing I want to say, don't cry over spilled milk. Don't get
Hmm.
stuck on what's happening and the mistake that's happened at the time. It's okay, we're
Hmm.
human. But it was
Right.
more important is that you get it done and you fix it immediately.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's good.
did I do a
Um,
good job answer
I
that question, Tanya?
I can't remember. I can't remember. But let's talk about this next question. That it's, do you have any checklist or tools you utilize whenever you are collaborating with others on a project? I do. McKenna, do you have tools that you use? You may go
Yes, I
first.
do have some tools I use when and checklist I'm using. One of the main things I use is that I try to write down all the things that have to get done on that particular project. So I could use, let me see, I've used like Excel spreadsheet. Like making like different charts. Me personally, I like to have compositions because I'm old school. I write down all my thoughts
Right.
first and just get everything out my head, and
Yeah.
then I start strategizing what to do.
Yeah.
So I could put it on like an Excel spreadsheet of who's involved, what everybody's going to be doing, and when it has to be completed.
Hmm.
And then also too, I make sure I use other tools, technology, because I'm really into social media marketing. And so I have to promote the event online. So I get my social media team and we huddle up and I tell them, okay, make sure we share these flyers at this time. This is the cost of the ticket. I keep them abreast on the marketing plan. So that's one of the things I have to do is create a marketing plan about when we're going to launch certain things and campaign and when it's going to get done.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
also use For events, we use like Eventbrite and Ticketleap, and for people to pay online. So those are some of the tools I use for events. But I know some people like to use project management tools too.
Right.
I got into a couple of them, but I still like using like my notes in
Composition.
Excel. And yeah.
Right. And
Mhm.
so for me to answer your question, Yvette, I just started something new. It was something new that just came out, but it is project management. I'll definitely send you what it is that I'm
Yeah.
using. But I also use Google Docs.
Oh
The
yeah,
reason
Google
why
Docs.
I
That's
do
another one
love
I use.
Google
Yes,
Docs,
yes. Hmm.
the reason why I do love Google Docs is just I like it because a lot of times I want to write out more. It could be a
Hmm.
paragraph form and I can put the information in and everybody has access to it. Opposed to
Hmm.
sometime I might use a project management tool and I can only put so much information in because they're small boxes. And
Yes.
so for me, I prefer Google Docs and then I'm able to share. So for me, the best tool that has worked for me has been Google Docs. Now
Hmm.
the only thing is you all is that everybody that's part of the project has to be people who open up their emails and they have to be people who are know that something is coming all the time. So for me, in all honesty, a lot of times that can be the little what is the word the fox in the whole mix up of it all is getting people to make sure that they're opening up their emails
The
or making sure they
communication
go to
piece.
their stuff because a lot of times people get so busy. And so another thing that I do is I have weekly meetings.
Yes.
It might be monthly, and with the closer something comes to an event or project or whatever I have going up, it'll then get cut to 2 weeks and then it'll be 1 week just to make sure that everybody's on the same page and that everybody's being held accountable.
Hmm.
And then you're going forth. Now, the only thing is, and let me talk about that accountability. You truly, truly can't make someone accountable unless they really, really believe in the project.
That's right.
Let's talk about that because people are not going to be
Hmm.
accountable if they don't believe in the project.
Hmm.
If they don't see any value, and this is for everyone. If people
Yeah.
don't see any value in the project, if they're not going to give their all, and that's too, boils down to personalities. It boils down to it can even boil down to a respect factor because
Hmm.
sometimes people go into projects or anything and then let's talk about that a little bit with, they may have another motive. And that's when,
Hmm.
even as leaders, you have to understand what's going on. Share a little bit more light into that. Yeah.
Yes, accountability is a big deal for me, because we have to have integrity. If
Hmm.
you say you're going to do something, you have to get it done. Like some people don't understand when business, it costs money to do business.
Right.
People are, risking their project, hoping that it will make a profit. And
Right.
so if people fall short on certain things, that means something is going to hurt the budget or something's going to hurt the project to make sure it manifests into something successful. And that's why, to me, it's almost like when people have skin in the game, they feel responsible for it.
Right.
But when they don't have skin in the game, mean they don't have to worry about it coming out their pocketbook. They don't seem like they think it's important, so they're not going to be accountable for their actions. And I tell everybody the reason why I am where I'm at today is because no matter if I was volunteering for something or I was partnering or getting paid for it, I always did my best work.
Yeah.
And because if you always do your best work, then people want to keep on bringing you back because they could trust you that you're going to
Right.
get it done. And
Right.
I don't really believe in micromanagement like that. If I had to keep on calling you, keep on saying, did you do that? That means you already telling me through your action. Look at Latonya, she shake her head. That means you don't care.
You
So
almost like,
I'm
I
gonna
got, you
move,
got to go.
yes, I'm gonna move you out the way because you're gonna hurt the project. And it's hard to do that, Latanya, because I have had people
It's
get very
hard.
upset with me, or they say, McKenna, you need to work with everybody. Everybody got to come together. I said, everybody ain't going to come together because everybody's
Yeah.
not going to be accountable and everybody ain't going to get the work done. The work is
Right.
hard sometimes. And I have seen people jump off the ship when it gets hard.
Yeah.
I don't want you on my team if that's
Yeah.
the type of attitude you have. I want people who are assertive, that they're calling me and saying, McKenna, I have another idea. I think we should do this and this and that. Or girl, maybe we should do this to make this better. I want people who thinking just like I'm thinking. Leaders are looking for other leaders. We don't want to be the one holding it up the whole entire time. That's very
Indeed.
stressful and
Yeah.
it's exhausting. You know, so being accountable for what you agreed to do with that person, I mean, you're becoming like I'm saying, like that you are being an adult. You
Right.
know, you're saying, hey, I said I agree to do this. And then if I can't get it done, I'm gonna make a call. And like
Right.
you said, Latanya, having those meetings, you know, I try to have meetings at least over the phone, like, you know, depending on how close we are to the event, I'll do it like, you know, every few weeks, and then
Yeah.
start doing every week and then every few days. Because
Right.
some of my projects is, you know, are huge, from the comedy shows or the wellness events I'm doing, or even big events I do with my husband. It's like it's a lot of stress involved
Right.
already, so you really got to stay on everybody. So accountability, I'm telling everybody, you know, it's not personal.
Yeah.
You know, and I have had people say get upset because when you call them out and say, did you do this, and they get offended because you asked them. No, I should be offended because you didn't get it done. And be,
It's all kind of stuff.
and
That's
it's
good right
crazy.
there.
I'm like,
That's good
just
right there.
tell the
People get
truth.
offended because you say, did you do that? Huh? What you mean? Did I do that? What? Well, it's been 2 weeks.
Yes, yes. And then I do now. Tell you, I asked them, now, are you sure you want to do this? You know,
Are you
because
sure?
if I
Exactly.
call you and ask you, I don't want you ignoring my calls or ignoring my
Right.
emails. I mean, because I don't want no trouble. So
Right.
be
Right.
real,
Right.
be real. You know,
And that, yeah, just be honest and tell the truth. Maria says collaborate. I hope I'm pronouncing the name
Rhea.
correctly.
Yes.
Rhea. Collaboration
No,
means
Rhea.
skin in
It's
the
Rhea.
game.
It's Rhea.
Rhea, I'm so sorry, Rhea. Collaboration means skin in the game. Cooperation means you just, whatever. You just do whatever. I'm assuming that's what that means. In that I guess that's what that means right there. Yes, accountability is very, very important. Yeah, it really, really is. And so it's really, honestly, it's the only way that you can get past your
Mhm.
benchmarks. And so
Yes.
it is so necessary. And I honestly, at the end of the day, most people, and we talk about collaboration, you all, but understand cooperation. A lot of people are literally just cooperating. And when you understand that, you have to be willing to know, okay, they're here helping me. And then even as individuals, understanding they're here to help. And because they're not necessarily employees, they're just here to help, which means even as leaders, you have to make sure, as we talked about, understanding the personality types, you have to know the people that you're working with, you have to know their strengths and their weaknesses. Because I also always say people have to be or should be willing to be awesome at their level. But as a leader, as the person who's in charge, you have to understand what that person is able to bring to the table, um,
Mhm.
and not ask them for more, because
Mhm.
people may not be able to give you more, but they're great in this area. And
Yes.
so I believe it is so necessary that, especially as we deal with so much that's happening in the world,
Mhm.
more people now are online. We're doing business online. We're
Mhm.
doing events online. We're doing projects online. We're running our businesses online.
Yes,
And
we
so
are.
I think it is so necessary now, even more than ever, to understand who you're dealing with. I don't know if anyone has a question on certain things or people that we might use. Are there people or other organizations that you use, McKenna, when it comes to doing business that you may not necessarily use people that but maybe other people that you might utilize?
Yeah, one of the things I always been very open to do is invite other people in. You know, I'm the type
Mhm.
of person who cold call people, and you know that, Latanya.
Yeah, you
I
will
start
cold call, honey. She is the cold call queen, y'all.
because it depends on the event. Like, if I'm doing a women's wellness event and our subject is about self-esteem, I will go out and find other organizations that are dealing with women, where they're doing women's empowerment or working with mental health issues, and I will bring them on board. I'll reach out to them and say, hey, I have this event coming up. I think it'd be perfect for the women in your organization. I would actually find experts in that field. Don't have to know them personally, but I'll do research on, Google, people that do, work with women or people who
Right.
work with mental health, empowerment in San Diego. And of course, Facebook is phenomenal for that. Sometimes I'll just literally post on Facebook and say, I'm looking for women who are good at this, or I'm looking for
Right.
these type of vendors. And a lot of times at some of my Superwoman Spa Party events that I do, where it's for women empowerment, a lot of the vendors come are people I never met before, and
Right.
they collaborating with me. And some have even drove down like a couple hours down just to be a part of it. So to me, that is a way of how I collaborate outside of my circle of influence. So everybody benefits by getting the right information, the right people in the room. I think that's what creates the chemistry when you go out the way to find those people that fit into that mold of what you're trying to, for me to present with that event.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. And so let's deal with that for a few minutes, because a lot of times, you guys, we might talk to another group, and we do this a lot on Instagram, and they tell you, that's one part of marketing, is also connecting with different organizations or different
Mm-hmm.
influencers on these social
Mm-hmm.
media sites, because what begins to happen, and that is part of a collaboration, but is a
Yes.
form of, okay, you connect with my people, now I'm going to connect with your people, and basically you're bringing both parties in together. That is
Mm-hmm.
something, you guys, is part of a collaboration.
Yes.
Everybody has skin in the game, everybody's investing. So when we talk about social media, even on Instagram or Facebook, that basically is mean the common goal could be on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram to have more followers. You want to be more influential to people, so
Mm-hmm.
that way it turns into a collaboration. Your group is connecting to their group, their
Mm-hmm.
group is connecting you to your group, which means the common goal is to have more followers. So that was just a nugget I wanted to share with the people out here.
Mm-hmm.
Even as you jumped into the marketing thing, and even as you said, dealing with the different organizations, those two are part
Mm-hmm.
of collaborations, you guys,
Yes.
because those are organizations that are coming in to be a part of another organizations,
Mm-hmm.
which means they're invested because those people trust them, you
Yes.
know, as well. And so I definitely wanted to shed that light in regards to that. All right. Anything else you wanted? Let me see, what did Ria, I think it's,
Yeah, that's
yes.
my girl.
Yes, all right. She says, yes, you can have cooperation and no collaboration, but you cannot have collaboration without cooperation. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what really will call people to account. Great, great, great.
Mm-hmm.
Great
Yes.
words right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know, yeah, and it's a lot in regards to this, McKenna, that we can go on and on about it.
Mm.
Share some more light in this before we close out this afternoon.
Well, basically, what I would say to anyone, I guess the best example I have is, and I always use example a lot, is the example I have with just my best friend. My best friend and I, we've been friends for over 20, I think 22 years now. And we met each other when we were going to City College, years way, way back. And we helped build each other businesses up. I remember when I was like her first client when she was doing hair, and she remembers when I was producing my first comedy show, and we would just help each other. I would, she would do my hair, and then I'd be having her business cards in my back pocket. And every time somebody said, "Who did your hair? I love your hair." Oh, my friend Offset did it. And then every time I had a show, she's out there saying, "Hey, let's sell these tickets. Get her clients buy tickets." And then I do that also with my husband's business. I help promote him on my page because he's in a totally different business. He's in fitness. I put him on my page, talking about different things he's doing. And then he also shared things about me, And so I'm telling everyone that the way the world is right now, because if you have the internet, we can connect with so many different people, and we can really help each other more than ever. And so if you could build some alliances with people who's willing to share information and help each other, you could all make money together. You could all do wonderful things together, wherever that is, whether it be a movement for a cause or for business to make profit, just as long as you guys could get along and make it work. And I tell people, if you could get like 10 to 12 strong people and you could just lock arms, you could take over the world. There's
Mhm.
8 billion people on this planet. So if you work together, you guys help each other to build each other businesses, everybody will win. Everybody have customers, everybody will have clients, it just, that's how I see it, and I know sometimes I tell my husband this idea. He said, McKenna, you live in fancy land. That's utopia. Everybody ain't gonna do it. I said, one day, I'm gonna have it exactly the way I want it. But I think it's possible because we just have to humble ourselves
Yeah.
and think about the bigger picture and not worry about what you're gonna get out of it. Just think about the big picture, how everyone's gonna benefit from it. And that's how I operate. And I know it's hard for some people because some people are like, well, I've been burnt before, and so I can't trust everybody. Believe me, you want to trust somebody. You can't do this by yourself. That's more of a headache when you're doing everything by yourself too.
Right, right, right.
So I pray that everybody find the right people, to cooperate with and to collaborate with.
Right. And so even as we end this on this afternoon, you guys, we just simply wanted to make sure that you understood the difference between the two, and because they now are buzzwords. We hear buzzwords all over the place, and a lot of times we go into a thing and we say, okay, I'm collaborating with this person, and it's truly the mindset of the other person is, I'm not collaborating, I'm just going to help you out. And there is a difference. And so even as we venture out into our businesses, even as you venture out into globalization, into technology that is happening all around the world, understand the people that are coming into your camp. You are the leader of your group. You are the leader of your organization, and understand who you're bringing into your group, into your sanctum. Because you got different areas. You got the inner sanctum and you got the outer sanctum, but you need to know who you're dealing with. And I do believe in understanding personalities, and when something's not working, you guys, be okay with saying that's not working. Yes. And be okay to let people go. And that's a hard thing that I think a lot of people have a problem with. But in order for your thing or your group's thing to be successful, sometimes we have to let people go, because there is a season and there is a time for everything. And so thank you so much, McKenna, for being a part of this night school, dealing with cooperation and collaboration. For you guys that are here, and we're talking about leadership, and we're talking about your leadership matters. I don't care who you are. You're leading something. I don't care if it's in your home. You're leading your household. You're leading a group. You're leading someone. Your leadership matters, and it matters more today than ever before. And so we want to definitely invite you all that are here. Come out to Tilt for Leaders. It's happening virtually this year in September at thelisttour.com. We want to see you there. We have some great and amazing people that'll be talking to you about everything that you need to know, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a visionary, whether you are a leader. It is so necessary in this day and time. The world is waiting for us, you all. And so until next week, we want to say thank you for being with us here on Night School.
Yay!
And we appreciate you all so very much. And we'll see you next week on, what is it, McKenna? Night School. She was late, y'all. She was late. We'll see y'all next week.